Governor Brownback, good morning to you, sir.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay, and I know I set this up with a lot of criticism. It played a lot of criticism having to do with your tax cut plan, so let me just start with that. Any regrets on your plan, the size of it, the scope, any regrets at all?
I don't have any regrets. It's not the actual plan that we put forward. I mean, what we put forward was basically a flat tax. And going through the legislative process, some of that changed as it went on through, but it's really stimulated investment. It's stimulated people coming into the state. We've got a record number of new businesses. We've got a record number of people working in the state of Kansas. So, I mean, it's really starting to work the way that we had hoped it would. And this is a state we haven't seen growth, and we've seen out-migration to our neighboring states, where now we're seeing in-migration from our neighboring states, except Colorado, which still has lower income taxes than us. So it's working overall. It's just these things do take some time, and it's moving us on forward.
Well, it seems that there are two issues that appear to be front and center, and I know one has to do with the funding issue for schools in Kansas. Now, you seem to have shifted your position a little bit now. Are you for, clarify something for me, are you for full funding of pre-K now by the state government?
Well, we put that forward, and then there was a lawsuit that had been brought under the prior administration that the Supreme Court said we needed to put more money in equalization, which I agree with, and we did. And every year I've been in office, we've put more money in K-12 education in this state of Kansas. And we've put in money into literacy programs. We've put another $20 million into a literacy program to get 15,000 kids that were struggling reading, really additional work, and particularly in the summer. So we've invested heavily in education. At the same time, we've cut taxes to try to create more growth, which is taking place in the job market.
Where are you going to get this revenue, though, to deal with the shortfall? You saw the projected shortfall, $213 million. I know you don't have to deal with the numbers that the federal government that you used to have to deal with as a senator when the numbers were always billions and trillions. $213 million, that's a lot in Kansas. How are you going to deal with that shortfall? Are you thinking about freezing maybe freezing temporarily, delaying some of your cuts? How are you going to deal with this?
Growth. And I think we'll be able to get there. Plus, Chuck, when I first came into office, the prior fiscal year, they had $876.05 left over in the checking account for the state. We're in this fiscal year with about $400 million. Plus, we were facing a $500 million projected deficit that year. They're projecting the deficit in 2017. We're going to be able to deal with this, and we're going to be able to deal with it with growth. And the key part of growth is keeping those taxes down. We've been losing people to Texas for too many years. Bob Dole, when he's first elected, was elected to the 6th congressional district in Kansas. We now have 4, headed to 3 if we don't change the trajectory, which is what I'm trying to do, and these things are starting to work. It is happening.
Well, let me go back to the schools issue here a minute. This is obviously something that's bothering even some moderate Republicans. What do you say to some of this criticism here? You have a former chairman of the Kansas Republican Party. It does seem like your party is pretty divided, particularly on this tax issue. What do you say to these moderate Republicans? The only way you lose in a state like Kansas is if moderate Republicans leave you for the Democrat.
Well, I think what I say to them is, look, you've got a choice. An election cycle produces a choice. I am a Reagan-style Republican. My opponent is an Obama-style Democrat who votes and supports tax increases, who supports Obamacare, who is a 2-time Obama delegate, and his running mate was the Obama co-chairman in the state. Now, you have a choice between those two. Do you choose a Reagan-style Republican or an Obama-style Democrat? And that's really what elections come down to, as you know. It's about a choice between these two. And I think when you give that choice to Kansans, and particularly Kansas Republicans, really of all stripes, they're going to say, well, I don't agree with you on everything, but I sure agree with you a lot more than I do with President Obama.
Well, I think what obviously raised the ire of some of these moderate Republicans is that they felt that your political operation targeted them for defeat, targeted them in primary campaigns. Are you going to pledge to sort of change your style, try to reach out to these moderate Republicans?
I've supported moderate Republicans. There are ones that have opposed me on different things, and so I don't know that I'll support those who have opposed me in different manners. But I also
could you support any of these Republicans? Let me ask you this: can you support anybody that voted against your tax plan? Any of these Republicans that voted against your tax plan?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But, you know, what we're trying to do is to get things moving forward here in the state where we've had a lot of job loss. We lost private sector jobs last decade in this state. Lost them. Now we've had a gain of about 52,000 private sector jobs and record small business creation in the state. We're really moving that the right direction. And Todd, Chuck, we haven't been able to get any of this information really out. The media has been very negative overall in the state, so now we get a chance to advertise and put those things on forward that I think will help people see the true story.
Let me ask you the basic question that you ask anybody running for another term. What's the big accomplishment you want to make in your second term if you get one?
Hit the accelerator on what we're doing. More job creation, more effort and successes in education, us moving forward.
Are you going to propose more tax cuts, or are you done with that?
We've got a series already in place. The overall top rate goes down to 3.8 in 2018, and the lower rate goes down these next couple of years as well. But I want to continue to get that income tax down because that's the one that holds back so many states. We started out as a high tax state. I want to get us down further as a low tax state to create jobs and opportunities. That's what this is about. The government is going to have plenty of money. It's the people I want to have more money.
Governor Sam Brownback, Republican from Kansas, former U.S. Senator. I'm sure you don't miss this Washington, D.C. these days. Governor, thanks for your time,
Pretty tough place there. Thanks, Chuck.